Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 4 of the Spy Squadron podcast.
Whew.
Episode 4 already. It feels like we started this yesterday.
Yeah, it's going quick. It's pretty insane.
And we're learning a lot.
Heaps. Every
This
episode
week,
that goes by.
We had the command stream.
Oh my god.
Which was really cool. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later.
I'm so hyped.
And it was spoiler alert, it was really cool.
It was really cool. It was so cool. But
first up, we've got a couple cards we need to talk about.
We do.
One in particular that came out 6 hours after we recorded our last episode.
I can't believe it. And it's such a good card too.
Yep, and could have gone really well with another card that we reviewed on that episode.
Yeah, if only.
And that is Fett's Fire Spray.
Oh my gosh.
Now this card is a 6-cost 5/6.
Cheeky space yellow villain unit.
Yellow villain, absolutely. And it has 2 abilities. First ability is if you control a Boba Fett or Jango Fett in your leader or as a unit, then you may ready kind of a better ambush if you've got those units.
Yeah, you get to ready Fett's Fire Spray, which means you can just attack the base on the turn it comes.
Yeah, and so very strong. And its second ability is you may pay 2 and exhaust a non-unique unit.
That's huge because that's not once per turn limited either. That's the first ability we've seen that is currently not once per turn. So it's pay 2 and exhaust just here or there. And when you're playing Boba Fett, that's exactly what you want, right? You get to exhaust a unit so that your 3-cost on the ground Fett unit can swing, deal its 3 damage, exhaust that, you tap your leader, untap your 2 resources, then you've still got the fire spray to swing with. It's honestly pretty nuts.
It's very, very good. I think it's balanced out by the non-unique aspect of it.
Yeah, it's really
so
good.
It's not going to be tapping down your Luke or your Vader or any of your kind of like Han Solos and stuff like that. So it is kind of balanced the way where you can't just be like, every turn I'm going to tap 2 and just start tapping down your stuff leader, every single turn.
It makes it more difficult. Like a lot of the exhaust effects that aren't limited to non-uniques, we've seen are like once use, like Leia or Asteroid Sanctuary. I think it's really cool. I like the future proofing on this card too, because I highly doubt we're going to see it, so don't get your hopes up. But the card does mention Jango Fett. I don't think we're going to see him this set. They've pretty much said that it's going to be the 4, 5, and 6 or like the Era of the Rebellion. So I don't think we're going to see anything there, but it does look cool for when we get to like Twilight of the Republic in set 3.
Or even set 2.
Set 2, yeah, because we don't know what's set 2. There could be stuff in set 2 that we get a Jango. I mean, set 2 is called Shadow of the
Empire?
No, it's called Shadow of the Empire. I think it's called like Shadow of the Galaxy or something like that. But that I mean, we could see one, but the sheer fact that it mentions Jango Fett's really cool.
Yeah, and we really like that. It's leader or unit. So if you're running the Boba Fett leader, there is no way that this card is ever going to come in untapped.
Tapped, you mean?
Yeah, sorry.
But like that's so good. And even if you're running it in another yellow deck where you are running Fett and you want to run this, if you can get the 3-cost Fett out, then your Fett's Fire Spray, which is already good, is coming in untapped for a second.
Yeah, absolutely. So even in non-Boba Deck, it's useful. In Boba Deck, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's awesome. Next up, we got a pretty fun card. So Vigilance has concluded its. If you've been keeping up with the social media side of things, FFG has been releasing cards weekly over the last month following the Vigilance stream. They concluded that with the unit. That unit is Rugged Survivors.
Absolutely, and this is a good card.
It's a pretty good card.
And I think it's a card that is easily overlooked and will probably get overlooked for a while because it's quite low statted for its cost. It is a 5 cost, but is a 2/5. So it's got quite low stats for where it's costed at, especially with that 5 being able to get hit by something like Force Choke.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge one. That's kind of like, it'd be feel real bad for someone to just be like, no, tap 2, kill it. But it does have its ability. It has Grit,
which is awesome. That's an awesome keyword. If you've played Chewbacca yet, you would know that that's a really good ability.
And it has, when you attack, if you have your leader as a unit, draw a card.
That's awesome.
Drawing cards is always good. I know we say
Always
that
good.
every single time we get any sort of card that says draw a card.
But that's just a fact.
It's just always good.
It's just a fact. Being able to get more resources to keep your game going is good. It will never not be good. I think this card is going to see a lot of play in, I think, Krennic. I think it's going to see a lot of play in Chewie. I think we know that draft is going to be a pretty big format for this game.
Yes, absolutely.
I think do not underrate this card when you play draft.
No.
This card's going to be huge because it doesn't specify a colored leader, it specifies your leader. So if you're doing a draft deck and you got Vigilance and you get this is a bomb.
Yes, no, absolutely. And also, this is a card that can be dealing 7 damage.
Yeah,
right?
It can potentially
if
just
someone's
go hard.
Yeah, if someone's dealt 4 damage to it, it's great. It's technically a 7-1.
If you're playing against Vader and they open fire and they deploy Vader out, cool. Kill Vader. You get to draw a card and kill Vader. If there was an event card that said deal 7 damage to a leader unit and draw a card, you better believe that would be a great card.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you need something like Krennic.
Krennic to add that extra damage. Sorry, no, you're right.
But yeah, still, 7 damage is a huge amount of damage to be able to get on a unit without adding any buffs to it. You play it in something that's like blue-green, suddenly you're surprise striking for 10, and it can be a really big hitter when used correctly, I think is the huge thing about it.
I think the card too is really good with things like shoot first. If it's hit with the grit, you can shoot first, get into something, and just kill it.
Yeah. All in all, I think it's a really good card. Yeah. I think it's a card that, because it's low stat, it's going to be overlooked a lot, and partially rightfully so, as like it can be killed easily. So it's not like, oh my god, this is the best card ever. But it's certainly a solid card to add to the neutral blue.
Yeah, I think if you're building a deck and you've hit your portion where you're like, I need more card draw, I'm lacking a mid-game slot, this is the card you put in.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty solid. Now, this was command week. And what better to get in command week than a leader?
Than a commander.
Than a command leader. We have Grand Moff Tarkin as our first villain command leader, and what a good character to pick.
Oh, absolutely. We've been waiting for our command leader. We've gotten a lot of the, because of the starter deck being the red-green, we've got a lot of those villain command cards that were just waiting for a leader. And simple and effective. I've said that almost every single time that we have done this podcast, all 4 episodes, of never to understate simplicity as being bad.
It's usually the most effective thing. Boba Fett's a great leader because his skill is so simple. You don't need Boba Fett to be like, I synergize with bounty hunters. When you play bounty hunters and jump through all these hoops, you get a really powerful effect. You don't need to jump through hoops. No. If you've got a simple but strong effect, then you're going to win games because that's consistent.
Absolutely. And Tarkin, so simple. Tap him, good. Tap 1 energy, 1 resource, give an experience to a unit, to an Imperial unit. That's so good. It's just so good for the current Imperial units that we have.
Just like Krennic as well, he flips at 5, and he has actually got the same stats as Krennic. He's a 2/7, which is great. He's got he hits fine. He's got a great body on him, and when he attacks, you get to put a experience counter on another Imperial unit.
No, that's really cool because it does mean on that 5th turn you can put 2 experience counters down.
Yeah.
Tapping 1 for the first one, deploying
getting
him,
out,
swinging him, and getting another one out.
Yeah.
Which
is really strong. Yeah. Putting +2/+2 permanently on a unit is insane. This deck has the potential to build up your board and go wide. And just like I talked about in the stream, which we will get to in a moment, go tall.
Oh, absolutely.
I think build up a unit to go huge.
There's going to be a lot of different ways people kind of build Tarkin. I think a really interesting one is going to be kind of going through that AT-ST overwhelm route, where while that AT-ST is well statted for its cost, and with overwhelm, it hasn't really been used a lot because of it kind of neutral nature. It's not doing anything fancy. But with Tarkin being able to add some +1/+1 counters, Overwhelming Barrage then synergizing with that really well to just being able to clear board. I think Tarkin's going to work really well with those kind of go tall, go overwhelm strategies.
I mean, you just mentioned it just then. Overwhelming Barrage works so good with this guy. Your units that are already small, when you play Overwhelming Barrage and you get +2/+2 on like a Death Star Stormtrooper, and you get to ping 5 damage around, that actually does feel good. But if you've been building that Death Star Stormtrooper up for 4 turns, you're dropping that and you're getting the same value as you would pretty much out of a Relentless. That's awesome. Not to mention, going that Overwhelm route is pretty good. Like, I think First Legion Snowtrooper, the 2/2/3 that when it attacks the damage unit gets +2/+1 Overwhelm, in this deck is awesome. You can pump him up, so he's hitting, and then he's got enough health because of those experience counters to not die. And if you're hitting into things and letting them live, well, next turn, you get the extra bump and to hit again, and you can just keep putting experience counters on.
Yeah, I think it kind of brings back into, like, at least for me, the TIE Advanced, which has kind of fallen off on the kind of view on space that I had as like, it's good, but it's not real. It doesn't really fit too well into a lot of the decks that I was making. Tarkin really says, well, I'm already buffing units, so more buffs is
put this in me. But
just kind of synergizes better and has a better effect, so that
want to
TIE
add to the
Advanced
deck.
is really coming in.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we just started talking about Command, so we might as well continue talking about Command, and we just started talking about space, so we might as well keep talking about space. The Command stream was awesome.
It was a very interesting stream. A lot, I found personally, a lot more informal than the other streams that they've done.
I liked it.
All of them have been fairly informal. It hasn't been someone sitting there with a sheet of paper being like,
and
the next card released is...
That's not a bad thing. I think we should clarify that quickly. We really love how lighthearted FFG keep it, and it's good to see the game designers be real people who love the game as much as we love it, who love Star Wars as much as we love it. Like, I think I would probably feel not as good if they came out and were super formal, like, the next card we're releasing is this. You're welcome, Star Wars fans. Whereas these people come in and they're like, we're wearing all green and we love Kanan, which is a real sentiment because he's the best character.
He's certainly a character that exists.
How dare you!
I would say he's my favourite character.
He doesn't. You're allowed to be wrong. Anyway, but yes, I think the game designers are really fun. They had a lot of fun with it.
And I like being able to see the whole team come on and then introducing new people. I thought that was a really cool thing, and how they said they were going to be rotating through almost the entire team.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And just being able to talk to all these designers and see them as real people. I find a lot of the time it can be really easy in card games for people to be like, the designers are sucky, and like be like, and it's like, but it's a lot harder when you're like, John over there was bad. Oh no, I feel bad.
Yeah, like, I love the people. I love Josh and everyone they've shown up so far. It's interesting because if you were to ask me who Magic designers were, I would like.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I think that's a really cool thing that people who are following along, obviously there's people who aren't, and that's completely fine. Like, that's what we're here for, to kind of fill you in on what's happened. But if you haven't, I definitely recommend checking out those streams. They're very interesting. They're very kind of informal, and they're talk
fun.
Maybe a little bit more than they should at some times.
Look, honestly, those streams, go watch them. They're really fun. They keep you up to date. They've got a lot of good info. They're awesome.
But we're here to talk about Command. And we learned a lot about what Command is trying to do in this stream, which is what we were expecting. In the Vigilance stream, we learned a lot about what Vigilance was trying to do, and now we're learning about what Command can do, and that's really interesting. We're going to start with the first one, which is ready for takeoff. Prepare for takeoff. Now, this card is very interesting because they've said that other colours aren't going to be getting as many abilities like this.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting.
So Prepare for Takeoff is a 2-cost neutral green event that says, look at the top 8 cards of your deck, choose 2 vehicle cards. Among those cards,
put them in your hand,
put the others in a random order at the bottom of your deck.
Okay, so we know Tarkin's good. We know that the 4-cost Tarkin from the starter deck, that top 5 to add 2 Imperials, that's good.
Fantastic card.
This costs half as much. You don't get the body out of it, which we did say in the last stream. If you know it was an event and it costs half as much, it would already be good, but getting the body's great. This costs half as much, and it lets you look at the top 8.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
Just something that you're tutoring out the cards that you want, and also gaining hand advantage is
So
massive.
good.
And especially with the game at the moment, with like we're getting more draw, and I know we keep saying there's not a lot of draw yet, and we keep talking about more cards that draw, but we're still really, there's not a lot of draw out there, and this is just a really
You love to see it.
And especially if you're playing something like Space Race, or you're trying to go for that ATST style Tarkin.
Yeah.
That I was talking about before. This card fits that really well because it just lets you search out those cards that you're looking for, and you're good to go.
Yeah, a lot of decks are already going for a Space Race theme that we've seen like it evolving. But not only that, if you're just building like a vehicle heavy deck, if you've got like Relentlesses and Blizzard AT-ATs in your decks, that's going to get them both. That's going to help you fuel like a healthy vehicle themed deck. And as they said in the stream, that is exactly what they're gunning for with this game. They want people to be able to play their decks where it's you get to play all your Luke Skywalker deck, and I get to play all my space deck, or you get to play your deck that runs all the AT-ATs and all the Snow Troopers and General Veers, and you just get to play Hoth out, which is super cool, and I love to see it. It's awesome.
And I think it's also a really cool thing looking forward into future decks, because obviously we had similar kinds of things in Destiny where we had Poe and that kind of stuff, and I think that's really looking towards that kind of stuff as well. When I think about what could be from these cards, it's almost more exciting than like it's just excitement. Like there's just a lot of stuff that can come from this that is very good for the game.
I think the general consensus with the cards that they've been revealing lately is I rack my brain and I think about the things that could come out, and every time we get a new card, I'm so surprised because I just go, wow. I thought of something maybe like that, but I didn't think of it like this. I didn't think about this being this cool. And as someone who's really excited for a lot of the upcoming decks, like the Command Layer leader, I think is probably the leader I'm most excited about right now. I just think she looks so exciting. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I think green has just really hit it out of the park with its power. It's an extremely strong color, especially in the limited card format.
Yeah, I definitely would say it's probably, I would even dare say it's probably the strongest color right now in the limited format, like with stuff like Overwhelming Barrage and things like that. Like as a complementary color with the things that it's bringing right now, it's so good.
But it's also done a really good job when keeping green thematic to what it is and what they've said it's going to be.
It's got its identity.
Absolutely.
When you play a green card, you're like, this is a command card.
Yeah, I don't think I've kind of looked at a card yet at all that they've released and been like, I think, shouldn't this be a green card? Like, shouldn't this be a blue card? Shouldn't this be a, they've really nailed on all of them, but especially in Command, I think, the kind of identity that it's going for and what it's relying on, which, as I said in the stream, is kind of bodies on board and using those bodies to do more things, which is a really interesting way to kind of bring the idea of command, like commanding your troops, into the game.
I think that's a really good segue to talk about it. They actually talked about command, and one thing I really find interesting about this game is every aspect is actually secretly got 3 play styles in it, right? You've got the base aspect and how it plays. We'll use command as a good example. Your ramp. Command's big thing is ramp. I think we can all be aware of that with the fact that they've showed off 3 cards now. We'll talk about one in a second. That ramp and for those who don't know what ramp means, essentially adding more resources and using effects to get more resources ahead of the curve that you usually would. So playing 2 resources in a turn through card effects and things like that. That's looking like that's Command's middle ground. That's what it wants to be. And then you've got the two other sides of it, the hero and then the villain side, where each of those play differently too.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, for instance, in Vigilance, your blue cards, your blue hero cards are all about protecting each other, whereas your black card, your villain cards are all about like getting in there, making sure they're taking that damage to be able to get further with effects from what we've seen so far. With Command, I think it's really pronounced because we've seen so many cards. Relentless, it's a huge body. Yeah. Villains want to drop their big cards.
Yeah,
AT-STs,
big ships,
AT-ATs, Relentless. You want to get that out there. And then Hero, I think, would be best explained by talking about one of the other card reveals. Mr. It's a Trap himself.
Admiral Akbar.
He's here.
And what lovely art on this card.
I think one of the first things I said to you was I think my favorite art out of the revealed cards, if not in the game now. I know I love Overwhelming Barrage and Relentless looks great, but he looks so clean.
Yeah, I think we'd seen this artwork before on the Instagram page, but on the card it really fits and it really looks crisp.
You've got him front and center, the white background really highlighting him. He's literally in the middle of saying the line.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the background, you get to see the X-Wings and the TIE Fighters. It's awesome. But you know about the art? It's actually a card too.
Promise.
3 cost Command Hero, 1/4 with Restore 1, which is really cool. And then when played, all right. Just a quick brief. The card's going to be up here, and its exact text will be up here for those watching. For those listening, you can go look up the card later. I will just give like a brief version of it just because the wording is really weird. When you play Admiral Akbar, you may pick an enemy unit, and then you may deal 1 damage to that unit for each unit you control in that same arena. So, for example, if your opponent has a 5 health unit on the board, and you have 4 units and you play Akbar, you can then pick that 5 health unit and then you will deal 1 damage to it for each unit as long as they're in the same arena. So let's say it's a 5 health ground unit, 4 units, play Akbar, that's 5, so you deal 5 damage to that unit. 1 for each unit you...
Yeah, the card is worded really specifically to kind of let people know that. I feel like it's going to be a card that, while it's a very good card and the wording on it is very precise, I think cards like this is definitely going to be something that you're going to be like, you're definitely going to have questions at your locals about like, how exactly does this work? So it's really important to kind of make sure people are getting it right from the beginning, because I know that in a lot of other card games, there's like cards where it's misinterpreted, and then that misinterpretation spreads, but it's been confirmed by FFG on their stream that's how it works.
They said it in the stream, and I think another good reason to watch the streams is sometimes we get cards like this, and straight from the horse's mouth, we know what the rules are.
Yeah, and they said, which is a really cool thing, we'll get back to Akbar in just 2 seconds, but a really cool thing they were talking about on the stream was that they, on release, they are dropping a massive FAQ that's going to go through a lot of the different scenarios that you're going to run into, and that just gives me a lot of confidence that they have worked through all the scenarios.
Well, we know they've been testing this game for a while. I mean, in the stream, again, for the 2nd stream in a row, they've teased us. They've teased us where they've gone, these cards are really cool, but man... the cards from the later sets, they did it again. You can't be doing this. It just, oh man, I'm just sitting here and I can't even fathom the cards you're releasing now, let alone Twilight of the Republic and later.
Last stream, one of them literally says,
you should see my Luke deck from set 3.
My Luke deck from set 2 or 3, and it's like, show it to me.
Show me. I don't understand. You're just gonna have to show me. I'm
a visual
learner. I need to see that. Just give me a deck list, and we'll be cool. Lay those cards out. But no. So they talk about, and I think that back on track a bit. They talk about how they've been stress testing this game pretty much since Destiny stopped. And man, the fact that they're going to release an FAQ on release is so good. I think we've all played card games. or when you're to card games, if you don't know the pain, thank fuck, because it sucks when you get a new card that's a bit weird, and then it gets released, and you kind of don't entirely know how it works, and people play it one way or another, and you're sitting there and you're going, I don't think this should work the way it does, and then everyone loses their games to it, and then 2 weeks later they release an FAQ and it's like, oh, by the way, that card works the way the way you thought it did, and you're like, cool. So I lost my games for 2 weeks in a row because...
Speaking of this kind of thing, something happened on the stream right at the end of the stream that I've never really seen a card game do before. And that was right at the end of the stream, they talked about Boba Fett. And when he was released, a lot of people in the community did go, he's really high statted for his cost.
Yeah.
He's really high statted for his cost. He's just a big body.
That's true. He just is.
And that scares me a little bit because he's legendary, so our legendary is just going to be better than the rest. And they kind of addressed that, and the crux of the kind of addressing it was just trust us. We hear that you're worried about this, and we need you to trust us that this isn't a problem.
And look, honestly, as I just said, the game has been stress tested for years. And seeing these people come in and seeing them be so passionate about the game, seeing them laugh about it, seeing them know. And honestly, I'll be real with you guys for a second. We have played card games for a very long time, and we played them in high-level competitive environments. When we've seen some of these cards come through, honestly, a lot of them are really balanced. This game is really, really well designed, and I trust them.
Yeah, I think anything that seems overpowered at the moment or seems too much at the moment, I think is just going to be a case of when we see the whole set, when we see everything together, it's going to make more sense.
We got to remember that right now we're really, really tunnel visioned. We, to put it into perspective for everyone after this stream, have maybe a third of the set revealed.
Yeah.
And we've got about 77 cards. And that includes, that's excluding the promo, the tokens and the promos. So 77 cards out of 252. That's a long way to go. And right now, this game is already feeling so good. So I think we just got to trust them. But back to the bar, the Akbar command hero strategy, just like we kind of saw it with Leia, but it could have maybe just not been a thing. But it's go wide or go home. It's putting all of your little rebels out there, because the Empire's all about bringing in their big Star Destroyers and the rebel ships. We know, we've seen the movies. It takes a good couple of ships to take down a Star Destroyer at the best of times.
Oh, absolutely.
In most cases, unless of course you'll practice at shooting Womp Rats with your B-52 back home, then you can take down whatever you want. Apparently, you can get anything with that. But usually, like a couple of rebel ships have to go in and do a bombing run on a Star Destroyer if we want to take it out, right? Yeah. And that's the thing. They're going to go wide. You're going to get to play that, you've got a Relentless there. Well, okay, tap my Leia, swing in with my ships, and, do that bombing run, get that ship gone and go wide. And you've got the units to support Akbar. Akbar's coming in and he's going, at the trap and get him.
Yeah, and Akbar is looking for a big board.
Yeah,
he's looking for
it's actively
a lot of things in space or a lot of things on the ground to do enough damage, to do the damage.
Now, one thing with that card that we will talk about in a second, we haven't forgotten that Restore is on it, but it's probably better to talk about the next card to kind of put that Restore of Akbar into context properly.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh boy.
Home One.
Home One. For those of you who don't know, Home One is a Mon Cala capital ship, the flagship of the Rebel Alliance. And it's so good. Firstly, look at the art. what is this? It's so cool.
It's
just
very pretty.
zooming through in a space battle. You get to see it shooting its lasers. And so James's favorite card is the Relentless. My favorite card right now is Home 1 because it's so cool. It's an 8 cost, 7/7 hero space unit with Restore 2. Your other units, that's right, all of them, ground and space, have Restore 1. And that's not it. That's not all. When played, you may play a hero unit from your discard pile, reducing its cost by 3.
That means you can play Admiral Akbar for free from your discard pile when you play Home 1.
That's a 1 cost Dodonna. If you drop that down and you really want to, you can play a 4 cost Han Solo.
If you've got, 12 energy available?
Yeah.
You absolutely go for it.
I mean, if you got 9, you can go him into the yellow Chewie Sentinel.
There's a lot of options.
A lot of options.
And something that's really interesting is them delving into the discard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jumping into that kind of what I would have expected to kind of come later in later sets. Jumping in and being like, no, your discard is still in play.
You now have the Home 1 now gives you access to those Rebel cards from the bin, and I love it. It feels so cool to be like, the Home 1 is here, and out of hyperspace coming with it is my Rebel wing leader, and he's going to buff up my other X-wing. So on the board, I've got my cool thematic space race attack deck, and these X-wings, they have Restore 1 now. When they're getting in for the damage, they're getting in to heal my base, which is awesome. And I think Home 1 really hits the strategy of going wide because it itself comes in and it gets another unit with it. It's a 2-for-1. Now, Restore.
There were a lot of questions on stream and they were answered. That Restore does stack. So, for instance, if you have Admiral Akbar or Yoda, then their Restore would be bumped up by 1 by the Home 1. So Akbar will become a Restore 2 and Yoda would become a Restore 3.
Yeah. To note, Home 1 has Restore 2, but it says other units get Restore 1. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, but isn't Restore a vigilance mechanic? I mean, it's where we've seen it the most. We know that they said in the vigilance stream it's going to be healing a lot. I think they really explained it well in the stream, in the sense that command is about, making sure you've got that command structure on the villain side, them having a tight grip, being powerful. The Empire has its grip on the galaxy, whereas the Rebels are about getting things in order, being that, group of people to outlast and getting that command structure built up. And that's what Restore does. It really gets you to the point where the Empire's, bearing down on you, but those 1 or 2 small attacks here or there, those small actions that the Rebels are doing against the Empire build up and culminate into you dropping your Home 1 and getting your fleet out, and then you've assembled your Rebel army for the final battle against the Empire.
Yeah, I think the real reason why it screams command to me is just that pure mechanical thing of, if you have more units, it is better. And that is the essence of Hero Command, from what it seems like. If you have more units, the more units you have, the better everything is going to be. The better your Admiral Akbar is going to be, the better your Home 1's going to be. It's just going to be, the more units, the better.
Yeah. Also, I mean, it's really interesting to think about as well with, I'm pretty sure Mon Cala in the lore of Star Wars overall have, some really good healing technologies and stuff like that. So it's cool to just see a Mon Calamari ship, which the Home 1 is, and a Mon Calamari Admiral have some cool little healing synergies. But overall, I think I could talk about this card all day. I love this card. I think it's gorgeous. I think the abilities are really cool. I am a sucker for Anthem effects. Any effect that says all of your other guys get to do this too makes me go what? This card's nutso!
Yeah.
Because, my Rogue Operative now has 3 red text on it. It's got Restore 1, Saboteur, and Raid 2. How good!
Ooh. Making that card better is...
It's hard to do, but they did it. And for 8 energy, for 8 resources. But again, you could drop your Home 1 and then play your Rogue Operative from your discard pile. I'm just saying, just putting it out there.
We do have to move on, though.
We do, sadly. But I think this card is something else.
Yes. So during the Vigilance scene, they dropped, obviously, Vigilance, the card. And it was pretty obvious then that we were going to be seeing these for every single one of the aspects. And we've dropped Command now. And it's
awesome.
It's a card
awesome.
that is very interesting.
It's awesome.
So the idea of these kind of cards was to, and they explained in the stream in a really interesting way that I quite enjoyed.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it
too. Being a case of when you are looking into what color you want to play, what you want to do, what you enjoy about the games, these are 4 cards that you can pick up and you can say, this is the play style of this color.
Yeah.
This is what it is called, the name of the aspect,
and this is what it does.
It is just what it does.
Yeah. Like, and another thing as well, they mentioned, they wish they could show us the whole cards all at once. They obviously can't. It's the smartest way to show us incrementally, get us hyped for this game that we already love so much. But at the very least, they can show us these so we can go, so that's what Vigilance does. So that's what Command's about. And that's awesome. But enough about how good the card is. Let's talk about why it's good.
4 cost, same as Vigilance.
Yep.
Command.
Same as Vigilance.
Well, that was Vigilance.
Well, Vigilance. Sorry. Double aspect, same as Vigilance.
There we go.
Yeah.
Choose 2.
In any order.
In any order. First one, very simple. Taking off of Tarkin. Give one of your units 2 experience.
What? That is so good. Are you telling me that my home 1 can be a 9/9?
Yes, I am.
Brilliant. Well, this card couldn't possibly get any better, could it?
Oh, but it can.
Surely not.
Second ability is you choose a unit that you control and deal the amount of power that it has as damage to a non-leader unit.
It's kind of a mini overwhelming barrage effect here. Overwhelming firepower. But you can order it where you go, cool, this unit here, 2 experience tokens, deal its damage. You can. It's really cool.
It's definitely really cool to kind of get a unit buffed up a little bit and then
it's a permanent
take
buff
out one of their big units.
It's a permanent buff as well, is the thing.
Yes, absolutely.
So, it's really good.
Interesting that the non-leader unit, they were talking on stream about how it kind of sucks when you play out your leader and he immediately gets wiped off the board. And so that's why they're kind of bringing in these kind of target
target non-leader, like Vanquish destroy
that
target
sort of thing,
non-leader unit, Waylay's bounce non-leader. I mean, the whole, a lot of the reason a lot of us are going to pick our leaders initially is probably because we really like the character, right? And it would feel really shit to flip your leader, get it on the board, and then for someone to just go, he's dead. That's like, awesome.
So they are trying to allow you to keep your leader on board for at least a turn or 2 to kind of actually play them, which is really cool. I really like that approach.
Its next ability is put this card as a resource. It's ramp.
Yep, it is resupply.
Yeah, resupply
it has one of its 4 abilities is resupply.
Yep, which we know is a 3-cost card. We know that card is already strong at 3 costs. This card costs 4. You can resupply, which essentially eats up 3 of the costs, I guess, and then you get one of the other abilities for 1. The final ability, and I think we can agree on this one, the most interesting and potentially most powerful.
Yes.
Return a card, any card, from your discard pile to your hand. Any card. Any. You could drop this card on turn 4. You could buff something up. You could ping something for damage, and then return back a unit you want to play. If you've played an overwhelming barrage earlier in the game, you can play command, buff up a unit, go get that card back for next turn. You've just buffed up a unit, making it stronger, making it better for your next turn board wipe. But overall, just being able to dig back and get those pieces you need. Oh man, you killed my Sentinel earlier. I really wish I had it back. Boom, it's back in my hand. And I've just bumped this unit up, or I've just killed this unit, or I've just ramped, so next turn I can play my Sentinel and another card in my hand. That's really good. And I know last episode we did have a bit of a discussion about with Vigilance when we brought it up, maybe like hamstringing yourself by whether or not you cut another color out. I personally believe, and we've had a pretty big discussion about this.
Yes.
Because I think the deck building in this game is probably the best deck building I've ever seen. Like, the aspect system is genius.
It's a very good system.
So it's really, because it opens up the door. I think mono command potentially will be a really powerful deck. But then again, in saying that, you really got to toss up what cards you're missing, and whether or not they are worth command. And when the full set releases, I think we'll start getting our answers to that. But when I look at that command card, look, honestly, I think Vigilance is a good card. Like we spoke about it last week, it's one of my top 5 cards. Whenever I play it in mono blue, it feels good. It does. It feels absolutely good. I think it's a good card. Let me make that very clear. Vigilance is a good card if you're running it in mono blue. But command is insane. For what it does, it feels really good. And I think one of the reasons it is so good is because of the cards that surround it, that really complement it.
Yes, absolutely.
But wow. Honestly, wow. I think really good job with designing that one.
Yeah, it's a card. It's one thing that I said about Vigilance is Vigilance wasn't a card that made me want to run mono blue.
But Command makes me want to
Command is a card that makes me go, I want to build a mono green deck and play Command and really test out the limits of it.
Like mono green Tarkin, mono green Layer Space Race. These are all things that as soon as that card got revealed, I kind of had like a brain explosion, like, oh my god, look at like all of these options, look at these things we do. I saw the home one and was like, I'm satisfied. I saw Command and went, what a good dessert.
Yeah, just a lot of really cool things have come from Command and the stream in general. I think all the cards that were revealed really... And I like that they showed 2 hero cards and 2 neutral cards because
you've seen a lot of villain, especially I think kind of like they did nod towards that with revealing Tarkin before they showed off the Command stream because like, okay, we're not going to show any villain cards, so we'll show off Tarkin. Here's your leader card for the people who want to build Command. A great leader card. He's in this week's gameplay, but that's what you'd be looking at there. Overall, another awesome stream.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it just takes the community further every single time they do a new stream. They haven't, and I don't think they will, fumble the bag on them because each stream it shows more and more confidence and says, look at what we're doing, look at how we're doing it. And every time it's like, oh, okay. And I can get a little bit more confident and a little bit more confident. And that's on top of already being confident enough to be like, I want to...
Yeah, I think a lot of the community can sympathize, or at least a lot of the people who've played previous FFG games can sympathize where there have definitely been points in the past where, and I do love FFG and I'm loving what the team's doing, but they definitely have been some points where they maybe haven't done it as good as they could have. Or they definitely ran into problems that, aren't anyone's fault, but just seem to happen. And when we first heard about this game, excitement, definitely a rush of excitement, followed by a little bit of skepticism as to, like, this looks so awesome, we'll see how it goes, but this looks so awesome. Every stream that comes out, I have no words now, like genuinely I have no words now as to how much faith I have in the team and FFG with what they're doing with this product. I think when they revealed the starter decks, and how the starter decks work, I think that's where I was really like, oh, okay. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, it was that kind of last spark of doubt that got snuffed out by them being like, oh no, everything's good. And you're like, oh.
They'd stamped all of, like, pretty much all the doubt out. And then when they showed off the starter decks and it was 2 in one box with play sets of the cards, I was like, oh my god, that's literally the best starter deck I've ever heard for any card game. Like, yeah, we've got your Magic ones where they have 2 starter decks in one, but the starter deck exclusives are 1 card and they're the face card and you only get 1 of them. This is like 4 per deck, 3 play sets. So it's not even like you're buying 1 starter deck and getting 1 playset of a card. You get 8 starter exclusive cards from your starter deck purchase, not to mention a bunch of other cards. And like, that's really good. And then when they did the stream, showing off, like letting the game designers be themselves, letting the hosts be themselves, showing off the cards, telling us why they love the cards, even talking about future sets. I know we made jest of it earlier, but that's cool. The fact that these guys are so passionate, guys, girls, and everyone else are so passionate about the game that they're creating, that they're just like, oh man, we literally can't wait to share this with you. Like every stream that comes around, we're just as excited as you are because we love to see what the community.
And like, we want to show you more, and then they look off screen at someone higher up, giving them one of these.
Yeah.
And they're like, but we can't.
And the great thing too, as well, they mentioned they're in our community. They're in the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, if you go onto Facebook, if you still use that, like me, old man. But there's a huge Discord community. We're active in it. We love interacting with it. A bunch of other content creators are active in it. Like, I'm sure you probably listen to a lot of them. They're active there. It's really fun. We all love interacting with you guys because you are what kind of make us want to do this.
Absolutely.
And they're in there too. They talked about it. Like Death Star DJ, they mentioned him.
Death Star DJ.
It's confirmed. It's FFG confirmed.
Yeah.
But
where's my Death Star DJ promo card?
Yeah, where is he? Where's my my
Full
one
art,
my one of
disco
one
ball.
disco ball one of one Death Star DJ. Get Post Malone on the phone for this one. But
we're converting him.
But I think it's really cool to see them so active in the community as well. But speaking of community, I just wanted to say quickly as well, thank you again. We released episode 3 last week at the time of recording this, and I think at the time of recording we're at like 150 views, and it's been out for like 4 days.
The support on the first episode was fantastic.
It was insane.
The support on the second episode was like, oh, this is still going, and the support on the third is just growing more and more. Is just baffling to us, and we super appreciate you guys watching. We super appreciate anyone who's sharing our content with others.
Yeah.
It just feels really good to have an impact on the community and have people want to listen to us talk about the game because we love talking about the game.
Yeah, we when we first started this, I think we had some of our friends jokingly ask us a while ago, like, you should start a podcast about this card game. We were like, probably not invested enough. We took a chance with this one, and we did it because it was going to be fun. We know we both love Star Wars. We didn't expect the reception we've gotten, and we're really humbled, and we're really thankful for it. So we would love to hear from you guys, commenting about what you want to see, what more you want. We've got a lot planned. Speaking of plans, there's only a little bit left in this episode. I know we went on a bit of a tangent in the end there, so sorry for the people who were hoping it was a little bit more structured. We're going to discuss now what's to come from this month and then the beginning of next month. So after Command, there'll be a week off from live streams as of time recording next week. So we'll be having a discussion about a cool topic then. You have to wait and see for that one. Then they will be discussing booster pack ratios.
Yes.
That's so interesting. I know a lot of people out there, us included, very much us included, just like you guys, we're dying to understand. I know from this game's inception, they discussed how there were going to be chase cards, and cards are going to be easy to get. Unlike a lot of other card games, And I think that seeing what's actually in a booster pack is really going to help with
Yeah,
that.
there's so many questions to be asked. How many cards are there? Is there going to be a leader slot?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a token slot?
Yeah.
What's happening
How many
there?
rares and legendaries do we get in a pack?
Exactly.
And things like that. So that's really awesome to see. Really exciting to see. Not to mention that they have admitted they're going to show off some cards in it too. I think it's in the description of the video. And then so that's on the 21st of September in Australia. That's the 21st of September everywhere. What am I talking about?
I think so.
And then on the 27th, they will be live streaming product rollout and booster boxes.
Yes.
So that's awesome. That's a great follow-up from booster packs. They're going to show us what we're looking at box-wise, what we're looking at product-wise on release. So I think we'll probably see maybe a little bit more about the Game Genic stuff there, hopefully, because I'm really excited about that. I think Game Genics, I've used their deck boxes for Commander a lot now, their magnetic ones, and I can say that they make really good stuff, and I'm really excited to get my hands on specifically the Star Wars Unlimited built ones, with like the leader slots and the base slots and all that stuff. So
I think it's going to be really interesting because we currently know, obviously, we're going to get boosters, and obviously we're going to get starter decks. It's going to be interesting if there's going to be any other kind of products that are released, something similar to maybe like Pokemon has a lot of different kind of little boxes, gift boxes,
I know,
and stuff like
Pokemon's got their Elite Trainer boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Magic's got their like starter boxes and things like that. So
it would be interesting to have a kind of Elite Trainer box style thing with some Game Genic tokens and stuff like that, as well as a few booster packs.
I would like to see that.
I think that would be a really cool way to kind of get people into the game.
Yeah,
obviously,
definitely.
this is not a confirmation of that.
Oh yeah, no. This is us brainstorming.
I work at Game Genics, actually. No.
That's a certified Spice Squadron pipe dream right there. It'll be interesting to see what the rollout's going to look like. At the very least, huge fingers crossed. Yeah. Huge fingers crossed that we get a release date in that stream. I kind of feel like we might, because they've definitely said early 2024. I know there was that one artist who
released March,
who said release March, but we can't, unless it's from FFG's mouth directly, we can't really confirm anything there. And then after that month, I would imagine we'll probably be getting to see like they did with Vigilance, really cool community interaction. They let us vote on what cards we got to see. I imagine we'll probably get the same thing with Command. Vote the base. I want to see what the base does.
Go Spice Squadron, fly. Comment base.
or vote for whatever you want. I'm not your boss. And then next month, if you read the aggression, spoiled. If you reread the Command article, aggression is next month. So we finally get to see red. I want aggression heroes.
Yeah, hero aggression is going to be really interesting to see.
I want Wedge Antilles.
But yes, a lot of really cool stuff coming forward. Not just with the streams and stuff, but content that we're constantly coming up with new things.
We're very excited.
As you've probably seen with each episode, we kind of come up with another thing to add to the podcast to try and get it better and better. And we will continue to do that, but also we're going to be coming up with more video ideas separate to the podcast and gameplay that we're going to be releasing.
We have been discussing quite a lot of things, and obviously as the channel progresses, we'll be looking at things. I think we're going to start discussing things like when the full set releases. We'll do obviously a full set review. We'll probably do aspect breakdowns once the aspects are fully released.
There's a lot of stuff that we have in the works. So if you enjoy what we're talking about, how we're talking about it, please subscribe, like, comment, obviously.
And let us know if you want to see anything, because we love to talk about this game, and if you want to see us talk about something that you're like, oh, I want to hear what their thoughts are on this, or it'd be really cool to see the Spice Boys do this, please do. Genuinely, please do. I think it's really good, and I almost forgot.
But that is all the time that we have for this podcast.
Just one more thing quickly. The home one is a 5 out of 5 on the Spice-ometer.
I thought we got away with it. I was literally about to be like, we have no more time, and there was no spice count. God.
We'll see you next episode.